Morning. Let's see. Good morning to you. Let's see who jumps on. If you're watching the replay of this one, just let me know. Let me know you're watching. We've got the first event for February. On the 1st of February, I couldn't wait too long, could I, to get into this again? And like always, really wanting to hit the topics that matter to you most. So what I like to do is either one, I get some really great ideas from you all. Feel free to message them to me. I also go through our group here and figure out what are the common themes, what are the common issues. I also do a whole heap of other research and then go off what the main challenges that I see with the families that I work with. So there's many ways to get different topics spoken about here. So just make sure that you let me know if there's something in particular. Some people feel weird about messaging somebody that they don't know. I promise I won't bite. I'm not a weirdo. I'll message back with a thumbs up saying thanks very much. And if I have a free resource, I'll send it out to you and I'll speak about it in one of these events. But just let me know if there's something on your mind that you'd like me to speak about. And also the beauty of it is if it's not my area of genius, then I find somebody whose area it is. So I get guest speakers in every single month on different topics. So you're never going to lose out. And this topic today is one of the most commonly asked. Meltdowns. How do we manage them? How do we not allow that frustration to overcome us so we just yell and scream and lose our own marbles? And then we're filled with guilt straight afterwards and we hate ourselves and you think you're the worst parent on the planet. These are commonly the themes that pop up with the clients that I speak to and many parents that I speak to over the phone. So let's tackle the question. Let's see how simple we can make this, because if you've watched any of my videos before or you've worked with me, you know that my key philosophy when understanding children, when meeting their needs, when figuring out what their needs are, is simplicity and getting back to basics. That is what's going to save us. That is what's going to get your energy back, reduce any of the overwhelm and the frustration that you might be feeling at the moment. Simplicity is where we need to be headed. So that is what I'm going to be giving you today. So if you're here, say hi. Say hi, say hi. All right. So I'm just going to put my screen up here. So if you do comment or ask questions, I can see you. All right, the big question, how to manage meltdowns with confidence when you are frustrated. Let's tackle it. Let's figure it out. Let's see if there's something really small that you can take away from today, because small is key. Let's not get bogged down in the big and the life-changing. Often when we are biting off more that we can chew, we achieve nothing. Okay, that's the way it goes with everything. And it's no different to a question or an issue like this. So what do they look like? Okay, meltdowns can look so different for everybody. When I've asked this question to hundreds of parents, I'm met with really common answers. There's screaming, yelling, crying, hitting, throwing things around the room. If you're on here, let me know what meltdowns look like for you. What do you experience when they happen? Is it filled with anger? Is it filled with sadness? Those can be different as well, depending on the child, depending on the environment, whatever it is. But they generally have common themes, and that's generally them. And then where does this sense of frustration come from? So when I'm speaking to any of my clients, thanks, Patty. Yes, swearing and hitting. Absolutely. And definitely with the age of your son, that would make lots of sense, right? The swearing. So he's definitely learned those words, hasn't he? So where does the frustration come from? There's usually a couple of key themes. And I wonder if this is the same for you. And you can let me know if it's something different or these are the reasons for you. So generally the frustration builds during meltdowns because it lasts longer than you would like or than what you think it should. It's the 50th meltdown for the day, or you've got your own stuff going on. Let's face it, that, you know, you've got to put all this time and energy into this little person in front of you, but you're an adult in this world and you're going through your own stuff too, whether that's work challenges, relationship challenges, whether you've got challenges with your other kids, whether or not it's personal challenges, your own stuff. There's a lot of things that could be impacting you. So these are the general themes on where this frustration comes from. So we want to work on eliminating some of that frustration, bring it down slightly if we can from today, which gives some space for something new to show up, whether that's a new behavior from your child, whether or not that means they don't last as long because your frustration is not present. So one of the things I always like to say is that when we've got two triggers, it equals war. So when you're frustrated, you are heightened. Whether you think you're hiding it well or not from your child, and I promise you, they know instantly when you're frustrated. And your child, meltdown city, two triggers equal war. So how do we have them not last as long? Well, let's see what we can do about that. So why do they occur? Sometimes it helps when I explain why they're even present. You see, there is a really, I'm going to call it dangerous. There's a really dangerous myth out there, these dangerous expectations out there even in the health field. Okay, when I was working as a social worker, that's my background, then I would be enforcing these myths. I was doing this very thing where meltdowns are not too normal and should be and can be avoided. Okay, is that entirely true? No, it's not. It's not true. So sometimes when I explain why they occur, it just helps parents like yourselves maybe to feel a little less anxious about them. Doesn't mean you're a bad parent, doesn't mean you've done something wrong. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with your child and we've got to shoot them up to whatever health practitioner you want to visit or see or get testing done. It doesn't necessarily mean that at all. So there's two main reasons why they're occurring. Okay, one is that we've got the limbic brain activation, and two is that we're creating the new neuro pathways. Now, I'm going to briefly go through these briefly. And if you're interested in one or the other, let me know. And then I've got other resources that I will be able to share with you. But the limbic brain activation, this is where your children are functioning from. They are in the emotion center of the brain. That's where they're living. That's how they engage with their environment. That's how they're seeing the world. That's their lens. It's full of emotion. It's through emotion. That's the only way they're seeing the world. So the slightest thing can set them off. And that's because they're already living and they're functioning from the limbic brain, the emotion center of the brain. It's developing right now. And when we're adults, it takes us a little longer to get there because we have more of our frontal cortex going on, the analytical part of our brain. It's there to consider consequences. That's the language center. It's there to consider somebody else's perspective. Children don't have full access to this yet. It's very minimal or it's still developing, okay? And that's being activated. Is it normal? Absolutely. Creating new neuro pathways. The reason, so we have these big meltdowns going on, and what happens, and this is why repetition is key here. Repetition is key. I'll say that again. Repetition is key. Repetition is key. Repetition is key. So the meltdowns and how they deal with them and how you respond as parents are creating the new neuro pathways. That's what's going on. And repetition is key to this. So childhood is the training ground. And that's a phrase that you should stick up on your mirror, on your fridge, on your wall, everywhere. Childhood is the training ground for adulthood. So if you're repeating yourself during these meltdowns before and after, you're on the right track. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It means we're setting up neuro pathways. So how are they being taught to work through the big feelings and emotions? Are they encouraged? Are you trying to stop them in their tracks? How do you respond? Do you welcome them? How do you respond to your own big emotions? What are your children observing from you? So these are the new neuro pathways, and this takes your child's brain a lot of energy to do. Hence why they're pretty quick to get back into this limbic brain activation phase. Okay, but that's what's going on. These new neuro pathways are being developed at a rapid rate when they are young, a rapid rate. So how do we manage them with confidence then? So there's a really quick little checklist that I like to do. And I'm hoping that'll give you one pointer. Okay, we're only after one here. We don't need to eat the whole cake. We just want to eat a slice for success. So it's really simple. It's based on many years going to so many different parenting training courses, and you name it, I've done it. Whatever the one is, I've done it. And when you actually work in the homes with the families, and when you deal with hundreds of families every few months, you start to see what works and what doesn't work. And this is what I have seen amongst the hundreds and the thousands of families I've worked with. This is what works overall. So the first phase is the check-in phase. Now, this is an interesting one, and I wonder if you've even reflected on this. So this is about checking in on yourself, and this is about checking in on your body language more than anything. What is your body language saying in that moment? And it might be helpful here to reflect on the last time there was a meltdown, and whether or not you were calm, whether or not you lost your marbles. Either way, what was your body language saying? We tend to think that children overreact quite a lot, and based on their brain development, I can see how we would think that, right? The fluffy bunny has lost its legs and now we've got meltdown city for 5 days. Yeah, it seems like a bit of an overreaction based on everything else we have got going on in the world. But for their little mind, it is the end of the world. So what generally happens is, if our nonverbal body language is not open, safe, and accepting, they can't get everything out that they need to. And that's when the meltdowns last longer than they need to. It will extend the meltdown every time. So it helps to have a reference point in this little part. So what I invite you to do is think back to a time where you were having a really good time with one of your kids, or all of them at the same time. Just pick one time where you were having fun, everyone's smiling, or it might have been a really calm time, whichever floats your boat, you choose. And then just think and reflect on what your body language was like. What literally, go back into that point in time, and what was your body language like? What was your tone of voice? What were your facial expressions? Really tap into each of those aspects. This is now your reference point. This is your guide. We first need to check in and figure out what our body language is communicating to your child. Because if it's not one of openness, safety, and acceptance, they simply won't get everything out that they need to, but it will escalate the situation on and on and on. And the next thing that we want to do is, it's called aware and acceptance. So this part is a really quick check. What exactly are they trying to communicate? Now, this might be the $1 million question. You might be thinking, well, Jess, if I had the answers to that, maybe I wouldn't be in this position. However, sometimes it's usually because we're not curious about it, or we think they're overreacting, so we actually don't bother thinking about it, or we've already had those 50 other meltdowns and we've got our own stuff going on and we just don't have the capacity to do it. And sometimes that's going to happen, and that's absolutely okay. It's okay. But what we can do here is get curious about what they might be trying to communicate. Curiosity is going to be the saving grace through each one of these steps. What are they trying to communicate? What's happened in the last 5 minutes, the hour, the few days? Has there been any changes? What's been going on? The amount of times that I've had conversations with parents and all we've done is reflect on the past day, 24 hours, 48 hours, the last week, and we've instantly been able to find the answer. It can be as simple as that. Get curious. And the acceptance part here is one of the most difficult parts for us as adults. Now, for us as adults, we have this really great ability to be logical, sometimes too much, sometimes too much. The trap here when we're dealing with these little humans is that, gosh, we want them to be logical. We need to accept the illogical nature of meltdowns and stop trying to find the logic. This is where so much of your energy is probably being lost. There is no logic in it. Don't find the logic. Don't look for the logic. Don't hope for logic in these heightened moments. There are none. Often when we have our meltdowns, there is no logic. I had a meltdown on the weekend. There was no logic in it. It's all emotion. It bubbled over. And it was all around moving house. There's no logic in it. And luckily, my partner knows that and he doesn't try and bring logic to the situation. That's often where it gets lost here. So accept that there's no logical nature to the meltdown in front of you. That will save you so much energy. And this is by far at the top of the list to experiment with. And I say this constantly, is to limit words. So when we're functioning from our limbic system, the emotion center of the brain back here, this part of the brain actually turns off any access we have to the frontal cortex, which is where the language center is. Okay. So have you ever been really, really frustrated, either with a friend, even with your kids, even with your husband, your wife, your partner, with your parents, and they just talk at you when you're just trying to get all of the emotion out? They talk at you. They try and persuade you to see something different. They try and talk reason and logic, and it just frustrates you even more. This is what's happening for those little kiddos most of the time when they're very heightened. This is not the moment to teach a lesson at all. Not the moment. This is the moment to just allow them to express everything they need to, and you're just that sounding board. Where a lot of the energy gets lost as well as wanting the logic, as I said before, is all of those words that come out, all of the reasoning, all of the persuading right here, right now, that takes so much of your energy, and it often leads to no success. Frustration will keep coming because you're saying all of these wonderful, rational, logical things, but you're not getting the outcome that you're searching for. And that's frustrating. So we don't aim for it. We limit our words. That's the gift here and the goal within all meltdowns. And that will de-escalate the meltdown so fast. And if you've only just started doing something like this, it builds on it. Okay, so the more and more you practice this, the more and more your children now get to know they can release it all with no judgment, no talking at them. They can just let it all out, and then they get to move on. That's it. Now, the last step, I keep saying this is the most challenging one. I think they're all challenging in their own right, depending on your own character and your personality and what you feel is right and wrong and your own stuff. But this one is tricky, especially when you constantly see the same things from your child, the same reactions from your child. This can be very challenging. Now, maintaining a beginner's mind. So maintaining a beginner's mind, you may have heard of this if you are into yoga and meditation, or if you like yogic philosophy or Buddhist philosophy. This is also a psych theory as well. So it really crosses the different realms, so to speak. So what we get to practice here is Are we open to learning and seeing something new? Or are we going to stay in frustration camp? So what generally lets us out of frustration camp is the curious lens to see something new and learn, maintaining this beginner's mind. So if you do this enough, again, you'll start to see the meltdowns decrease. Now, children are developing, their brain is developing at such a rapid rate. You know, between 0 to 3, we know they are the core rapid developmental years. And even beyond that, okay, 0 to 7, 0 to, it is 0 to 7 mainly. They are developing at such a rapid rate that you should be seeing new behaviors constantly or new reactions constantly. Now, if you're not, then this is where you get to have a look at this process and see where you might not be experimenting in terms of your reactions. Are you willing to see something new with maintaining a beginner's mind? Are you willing to learn about them, get curious, give them space to show a new behavior? Because if you continue to expect the same behavior and same reaction from your child, but from another person in general, you will see it. You will see it. Our brain has a very clever system called the RAS system. And if you want to see it, you will. And if you don't see it, you'll create it somehow. So I'd be going back through here and just figuring out, okay, well, if I'm not seeing something new often from my child, which one of these can I experiment with? Just one, just pick one. And today, that's all you need to pick, just one to experiment with. Is it that I need to focus on my own body language? Is it that I need to accept the illogical nature of a meltdown and find peace within that? Is it that I need to start limiting my words because I know I rattle on and on and on and on? Is it that I need to maintain a beginner's mind and put that curious lens on the next time there's a meltdown and look really hard for that new behavior, that new reaction, or something new? It can be anything new. Which one could it be for you? So childhood really is the training ground, which requires repetition. It's the training ground. It's the training ground for all reactions, everything that we need to respond to, every emotion, every challenge that gets brought to us, everything that doesn't go our way, anything that's hard. Childhood is the training ground, and it requires repetition, or we will never, ever have a technique or a strategy to go back on. This is how we learn. So make peace with the repetition if you can too, because it's required and it means you're doing it right. That's what it means. We need to rephrase this repetition aspect because it gets a bad rap, but it's required. So I hope at least one aspect of that was helpful for you. Just pick one to practice with. Let me know any thoughts, comments, anything at all, and I'll make sure to answer you. And if you have any other topics, just let me know. Let me know. I'm here to serve you, and I've got a pretty good connection base if it's not my area of genius. But happy holidays it still is for most of you. And I hope you're all getting ready for next week, school getting back. And I wonder who's got their first years heading back next week. I know my nephew is, so good luck. Good luck. I hope it all goes well, and I'll connect with you all very soon. Bye for now, everybody. And of course, reach out if you want to, if you need some additional support in any area with your children's behaviors.